Hello and welcome to my channel, The Enthusiast Garage. This is the second part of the Mercury Cougar build. In this video, I'm gonna start working on laying out all the parts I got for the car. I'm gonna install the whole water cooling system in the car, do the oil change, add coolant, clean up the whole engine bay, and hopefully try to get it started. So I'm gonna start now by cleaning up all the hardware. I have all the bolts laid out. Those are all the ones that I got from the previous owner. He had them all in one bag, so I'm trying to separate them and figure out where every bolt goes. I was able to find out which ones go to the water pump. This is the old water pump and I got a new water pump. So my plan is now to use the bench grinder and clean out all the bolts, and when I clean them I can transfer them to the new water pump. After that I'm gonna lay out all the brackets I got and do the same thing. I'm gonna clean it with a bench grinder and then put a fresh new coat of paint on all the brackets, and then I'm gonna go to the engine bay, clean it out, and start installing everything. So let's get started. Here's the difference. Before and after difference. Alright, so I just cleaned the hardware as much as I can, all the bolts and the nuts. Some of them turned out great, others not so much, depending on the finish and the kind of metal. But here are all the water pump bolts. Now I'm gonna start on the brackets. Right, so here's all the brackets. That's the water pump pulley over here, alternator brackets, power steering pump bracket, and this is the AC bracket. I don't think I'm gonna use the AC bracket because this whole AC system is very outdated. I'm gonna eventually put a new one on, but I'll still refurbish it and paint it up. Here's the fan, the flex fan. So now I'm gonna clean all of them up and give them a fresh coat of paint. That's the paint I'm gonna be using. It's from Summit. It's chassis enamel paint, semi-gloss. Alright, so I made this makeshift paint hanging system to be able to paint all the parts. I have some bungee cords over here, so I'm gonna start spraying and see how it goes. Here's the AC condenser that I got in the car, but unfortunately this fitting here is broken, so I'm not going to be able to reuse it. Anyways, I think when you get the new AC system, it should come with a new condenser, so I'm not going to be able to reuse this condenser. That's a radiator. I don't think it's leaking, but I am gonna give it a quick wash and a quick paint job to make it look nicer. I painted all the brackets. I painted the radiator. I am going now to clean the area here in the engine bay. I'm gonna cover up the carb, spray some degreaser, and give it a quick wash. Give the whole engine bay a quick wash. Then after that, I'm gonna use an abrasion strip and clean out the whole area around the water pump and start the assembly. All right, so I just gave it a quick wash. I'm not gonna worry much about the valve covers and the intake, the air intake. I am gonna replace them. I went yesterday to Summit Racing and I found really cool ones. They had the 302 black valve covers with the aluminum stripes and a matching Edelbrock one matching air intake cover. So I think those are the ones I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna try to do like an all black and aluminum theme in the engine bay. Not much chrome stuff. And of course try to fix up all the wiring on it and clean up the whole engine bay. But all that after I get it running. All right, now I'm gonna clean up the surface area, mating surface on the water pump and the thermostat housing. All right, so I cleaned up all the old RTV that was around the water pump and the thermostat housing. So now it should be ready for me to put the new water pump on. I got a new power steering pump, so I'm gonna remove the old one and transfer the bracket from the old pump to the new one. Here we go. All right, so this is the new power steering pump. This is the old power steering pump. I need to transfer the pulley and the bracket. So I tried to remove this, the old pulley using a jaw puller. Like this one, it didn't work. It ended up bending the pulley. Turned out you need a special tool, which I just picked up, pulley puller and installer kit. So I figured after I bent it, I'm like, you know what? I need to paint it anyways. Let me just buy a new pulley and put it on. Turned out this pulley is really, really hard to find. O'Reilly, AutoZone, none of the auto parts stores had it. Summit Racings had the pulley, but it's like $88 and it doesn't get here until like 2 weeks from now. So I'm gonna use the special tool, pull it out, bend the pulley back in place from the 3 areas that it got bent out. I can just use a pair of pliers, bend it back. I'm gonna clean it up, paint it, and reuse it. So let's get to it. Okay. So you got those 2 right here that's gonna go around. And let me see if I can offset it this way. Yeah. And you have this tool here. So pretty much what's gonna happen is this tool will sit on top, and those 2 will go around the pulley and the tool. Then you slide this circle on top of it to hold it in place. And now pretty much what you're doing, you're just turning this in to force the whole pulley to go out. All right. This is it. Pulled it out. And here's the pulley. So this is where it's bent, and here, and here. So now I'm gonna put it on my vice grip, on my bench vice, and try to bend this back in place, see how it goes. But let me transfer the bracket first. All right, I just bend it back as best as I can, back in place. And I ran it through the grinder. I cleaned it up. Now I'm gonna give it a fresh coat of paint. Alright, I'm gonna grease up the power steering pump shaft. Just a little bit of grease to help the new pulley. Alright, so I just cleaned up the pulley and painted it. It looks pretty nice. I'm gonna use the tool and put it on right now. Alright, so now we're gonna work on the water pump. So this water pump comes with a back cover, and there's two seals on it, two gaskets. So I'm gonna remove the back cover first. Okay, here's the back cover, and here's the first gasket. And I want to add RTV on the whole water pump, on both the cover and outside cover. Okay, now we put the outside cover. Alright. Alright, so here's the water pump. I have the old one here with all the bolts. I know which every bolt goes where. And I think I can fully attach all the short ones. The long ones gonna have brackets attached to them. So I'll start with this one right here. Now make sure the shaft's still turning freely, and it is. Now one thing that worries me is the old water pump, the shaft is going in more than this one. The space between this shaft here and the pump is smaller than the newer one. And I don't know if this is just broken or pushed in, and that's why it's like that. All right, so after I put on the water pump, it turned out it's the wrong water pump. This is the one I need to return. I was mentioning how there's space here. When I tried to put the pulley on it, it didn't really fit correctly. So I removed this, I need to return it, and I got a different one now. And this one lines up good, so I'm gonna start putting the brackets and torque it down and wait for the RTV to settle. All right, so I just installed the thermostat housing and the brackets for the power steering pump and the alternator. I am gonna hook up the alternator now. There's the main positive one, there's the ground wire, and there's the other wire, field. Field goes here, ground goes here, and that's the positive. So I'm gonna hook up the alternator and connect it to the bracket. All right, it's in. I'm gonna just tighten up all the connections on the back. All right, so this is the harness for the alternator. I noticed the connector here got some oxidization on it, and there was a lot of electrical tape that was off and bad insulation, and when you connect them on the alternator, they're very close by to each other's. So if they touch, they will make a short circuit and cause a fire. And I can tell from the condition that they are in, they've touched many times before. And yeah, look at that. This will cause a lot of problems down the line. So I'm just gonna correct all those, all the wiring over here. Maybe put better connector on it, put some shrink wraps. Let's do it a little bit better so I can make sure they're not gonna hit and cause a problem in the future. Okay. And then this is the field one. It's looking pretty bad. All right, I'm gonna connect it to the alternator and put the alternator on the car now. All right, that way they're not touching each other's, because if it's installed, no way I can be able to torque it down. Now this will connect back to the harness. I'll spray some deoxit on it, and this will connect to the engine ground. Right, this is the battery negative cable. I'm just gonna clean it up a bit. Right, connector. All right, I'm just gonna keep it loose until I put the belt. All right, so alternator's on, power steering's on. I'm gonna start installing actually I'm gonna put the water connections, water lines, torque them down, and then I'll put the pulley here and start putting the belts on. All right, they're all connected now. Right now I'm gonna install the bracket for the AC compressor. All right, so I just installed this bracket. I had to remove the power steering pump to be able to, power steering pump bracket to be able to install it. Now I'm gonna put the pulley on the water pump and start putting all the belts on. I think this one, the 7405, is the smallest of the three, so let me try. So first belt is in. Okay, I think this is gonna be the second belt, 7430, 7470. It's the belt from harmonic balancer to the water pump to the power steering pump. Now for the last belt, the AC belt. Just pretty useless to install now, but I'm still gonna put it. All right. All belts are now complete, tensioned, and good to go. So I'm gonna put the fan and the radiator now. First, I'll put the radiator, then I'll put the fan. All right, I just placed the upper and lower radiator hoses on, just so I can get an idea of where everything gonna go. I'm gonna put the radiator on now. All right, so I just tighten up upper and lower radiator hoses, and I'm gonna put the radiator bracket on now, over here. All right, that's not going anywhere now. So I have everything connected, cooling wise. There's still the two automatic transmission oil lines that goes into the radiator. I'm gonna do that now. All right, I just hooked up those two connectors. I'm gonna start filling it up with coolant and check if there's any leak. I'm not gonna purge the system yet. I'm just putting a little bit of coolant just to make sure the whole radiator is good. All right, so this radiator is leaking from two sides. As you guys can see, it's dripping. It's from the lower radiator hose, not from the hose itself. It's from where it connects and another place on the right side. So I need a new radiator, but I can still work on a car and try to start it with this one for now, since I'm not gonna be running it for a long time. So that's fine for now. All right, I'm gonna change the oil now. I can see there's a very bad leak from the drain plug. Oil is pretty dark, and I can tell they tried to put a washer, like a rubber washer, on it to fix the leak. So I'll try to do something about it now. All right, let's add the oil now. So it should take 5 quarts, this engine. So this is a full 5 quarts gallon. Gonna fill it up and then check the dipstick and see the level. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, so I added the oil. Coolant is still leaking coolant. It's leaking a lot from the thermostat housing as well, so need to change the gasket on that. But I just connected the battery and I'm gonna try to start it now, turn the engine, try to prime the fuel pump and see what happens. Oh wow. Surprisingly, it tried to start, so that's a great sign. I'm gonna spray some lighter fluid inside the carb and try again. All right, it's running. I did not expect it to turn on that quick. I guess the carb is pre-tuned up. That's great. Now, the bubbles here can mean two things. Either a blown head gasket or it's just bleeding itself, but I have a feeling got a blown head gasket. But we'll keep an eye on it. It's idling very good. I didn't install the fan because I still need to take out the radiator and swap it out. So over here, oil temp is working, the oil pressure. I don't know if this is working, I hope it is. That's a very important one to check if I don't overheat. Gas is working, I saw it move. And the battery one is working. But the tachometer is not working. Man, it sounds really good. The aftermarket headers and muffler on it sounds amazing. Wow. All right, I'm gonna wait a little bit and keep an eye on the temperature one. I want to see if it's gonna move. I really want it to move. I want this one to work. I don't wanna say it's a blown head yet. I keep hoping more. Alternator is working. That's great. All right, so this is the end of the video. In this video, we got the car to run, so I'm very happy about that. It's running really good. Engine is good, other than the potential blown head. But transmission is not catching on, and it's expected. I still need to add oil to it. So in the next video, I'm gonna tackle that coolant leak, add some fluids, and really start diagnosing the head, see if it's blown or not. If it is, then I have to pull out the heads, put a new gasket. But for now, I'm really happy with the progress we did on the car. So thank you guys for watching. Like, share, comment on the video, and see you next time. Thank you.